The world of Formula One is shaken again after former FIA steward Tim Mayer alleges that President Mohammed Ben Sulayem directly involved himself in making his views known via his staff about Formula One's swearing ban. All the accusation comes after two more FIA employers left the association this week. This year, there has been a serious number of employees leaving the FIA, and all of this happening under the leadership of President Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Is the FIA president responsible for all of this resignations? Let's find out. The FIA has taken a stronger stance on bad language this season, aiming to enforce its rules more strongly, with Ben Sulayem believing that drivers should utilize their platform to be role models around the world rather than swearing. Mayer had been a senior steward in Formula One until earlier this week, when he claims he was fired by text message for a conflict of interest related to his role in a right of review request following the United States GP in October. Given his engagement in US races over the last 12 seasons, Mayer said that is not why I was fired, adding that he learned of his firing via a message from one of Ben Sulayem's assistants. On the matter of swearing, the FIA president has been outspoken in his belief that drivers should not curse in official circumstances, with the potential to punish drivers under the category of misconduct broadened to include poor language. Ben Sulayem stated on the subject that we have to differentiate between our sport, motorsport, and rap music, comments that received criticism from Lewis Hamilton, who claimed there was a racial element to his choice of words. Drivers have already begun to be punished, with Max Verstappen obliged to perform public service after cursing in an FIA press conference in Singapore, and Charles Leclerc fined a $5,000 for using a swear word in a Mexico press conference a month later. On this matter, Mayer stated Ben Sulayem has been making his views known on swearing within the FIA. And while it is against the regulations, the now former steward feels the president's outspokenness on the subject stems from a desire to flex your muscles. His view that the drivers need to be penalized for swearing, that is his view, and what has happened since reflects that, Mayer told BBC Sport. There are times when he has directly involved himself in making his views known, not with the stewards directly, but via his staff. Part of the job of the stewards is to enforce the FIA's policy on the rules. Technically, bad language is outlawed, so it's not unfair. Whether it's sensible we should be chasing drivers for rather mild swearing is another matter. Most drivers' English is their second, third or fourth language, and every go-kart kid in the world, it's the first word they are taught in English. There are other ways to handle that kind of thing, unless your desire is to flex your muscles. The fines for Leclerc and Verstappen triggered a reply from the drivers in the form of an open letter from the GP Drivers Association, which criticized Ben Sulayem's handling of the swearing issue thus far. A part of the letter states, "We urge the FIA president to consider his own tone and language when talking to our member drivers, or indeed about them, whether in a public forum or otherwise. Further, our members are adults. They do not need to be given instructions by the media about matters as trivial as the wearing of jewelry or underpants." Are all these changes in the FIA affecting the drivers too? George Russell believes the drivers want clarity and insight into who's getting fired next as the FIA continues to lose prominent names. Before the Las Vegas GP, Formula One's governing body, the FIA, cut ways with fun race director Niels Wittich, and on the eve of the Qatar GP, experienced steward Tim Mayer and proposed new Formula 2 race director Jeanette Tan were told to leave. Last weekend in Las Vegas, the former drivers were presented to new race director Rui Marquez, who was promoted from Formula 2. Russell and Carlos Sainz praised his debut. However, the exits continue, and Tan's appointment means Marquez will serve as Formula 2 and Formula 1 race director. The overall scenario does not sit well with GP Drivers Association chairman George Russell. The relationship between Formula 1 drivers and the FIA has recently come under scrutiny, with all 20 drivers recently uniting in a strongly worded statement addressing issues such as the FIA's swearing ban, which Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc felt the force of, while President Mohammed Ben Sulayem was urged to consider his own tone and language. I mean, just when we've asked for, let's say, a bit of transparency and consistency, we're getting rid of two highly important people in the governing body, Russell told the media. So it's kind of gone in full 360. We still don't have any reasoning for Niels' removal. I don't think anybody was informed about Tim leaving, and the same with The first I heard about the new race director doing Formula 2 this weekend as well was through the media. So naturally in any organization, if you've got people leaving or change of personnel, it's never going to be a stable environment and people have to learn the new rules, and that's very challenging for any team, and it must be super challenging for everyone within the FIA right now. So, we'd love to get a little bit of clarity and understanding of what's going on and who's getting fired next. Change is also occurring in the Formula 1 grid. That Cadillac has been accepted as a provisional Formula 1 2026 entry. So, Russell was questioned if everything going on in the sport is a case of too much too soon. Definitely when it comes to the FIA, too much is changing and too quickly, he replied. I think everybody has faith in liberty and faith in Stefano Domenicali, Formula 1 president. He was a racer and he's got racing in his blood, so he's doing everything he can to get the sport in the best place possible. I think the only concern for all of us is the sport is in such a great place, everyone's trying their best for teams and liberty, and Stefano are doing such a great job. We just need to make sure that the sport stays in this position or continues to grow. And the only thing with all of this change is I hope it's not going to have a negative impact. And after the FIA has removed Tim Mayer of his Formula 1 stewarding duties, he stated that the governing body is running out of people to do those jobs, following a number of recent departures. These statements came after it was widely reported that Jeanette Tan, who was supposed to succeed new Formula 1 race director Rui Marquez as race director for Formula 2 and Formula 3, had also quit the FIA. Marquez succeeded Niels Wittich as race director before of the Las Vegas GP, and Tan's reported resignation means he will be in charge of both Formula 1 and Formula 2 in Qatar this weekend. Mayer, a long-serving FIA international steward who has officiated in multiple series around the world, stated that the combining of jobs for Marquez following the loss of Tan, who Mayer described as the best of the next generation of race directors, is a difficult situation for motorsport's governing body to manage. I know how hard both of those jobs are, Mayer said to BBC Sport. I like Rui a lot, but it will put him under incredible pressure. There aren't a lot of platinum-level FIA race directors, which is the FIA's highest level certification. I'm one of them. It's a lot of work, and if you are doing the job right, you wake up every day with an ulcer thinking of all the various things you need to be thinking about. They're not doing themselves any favors. They are literally running out of people to do those jobs. Mayer was serving as a sporting organizer in the appeal against the sanction, having represented all 3 races in the United States. What do you think? Is the FIA going down because of its leadership? Let us know in the comments down below.